Hi, I'm John Seacott, Executive Editor of the Brewer Magazine. Welcome to another edition of the Brewer Magazine Podcast. You can like and subscribe to catch the podcast every single week by looking on YouTube and Spotify. Like and subscribe those. We are sponsored by Keg Logistics. You can go to keglogistics.com/brewermag for all those details. And don't forget about brewermag.com, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your business resource needs. And of course, we're on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Maybe we're on Friendster. I don't know. Do you remember the Friendster? Yeah. Well, anyway, once a month, we like to be able to shift the site into Cider Business and do a little bit of a different mode here on the Brewer Magazine Podcast. So today we're taking a dive into flavor two different ways. And it's not the ways that you exactly think of when it comes to flavor and cider. Charles Talbott of Talbott Cider is sharing with us on the Cider Business podcast today on two new launches for the Colorado Cidery involving food and shandies. Now, the Cidery has launched a Southwest-inspired eatery while also debuting a lemon-forward cider shandy. So Talbott is really doubling down on innovative ideas, and we're going to dig into the why with him behind their new food concept, along with the strategy behind Pocket Shandy and that release and how it's been going, and maybe give other cideries like you that are listening that you can take something away from this. So let's check it out. This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency. And we're joined here on the Brewer Magazine Cider Business Podcast with Charles Talbott of Talbott Cider. And thanks for joining us here on the podcast. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, awesome. We talked a little bit a while back. I think this kind of stemmed off of the opportunity from some upcoming articles that we're going to be writing. And you're like, you know what? I'm really busy right now with a restaurant and a shandy. So I was like, wait a minute. We need to talk about that kind of stuff as well. You guys now have Talbott's Eatery. Give me the background on that. Like, why were you guys thinking of doing this, and how long kind of was the process of kind of getting things going for you?
So the way Colorado works is if you're a manufacturer, you can only have, you can serve a small amount of food, but you can only have the products that you produce in-house. With what we did is we moved from a limited winery to a vintner's restaurant. In that process of changing over, we basically operate like a brew pub. So now we can have beer, wine, and spirits as long as 14% of our on-premise sales comes from food. So we've been wanting to make that turn for a long time. And it's just, when were we going to pull the trigger to do it? And we saw an opportunity to buy a food truck, and we ended up buying this food truck. And it stemmed from there. My brother and I sat down and talked about what type of food we can do that really represents Western Colorado, represents, our area and what we grow well around here. And so we settled on Southwest food. There's not really a lot of Southwest options here, at least where we live. More Durango, Utah, Arizona, you're going to see a lot more of that. There used to be a lot more here, but there's just not anymore. Most of what we see is pretty corporate restaurants. So we designed a menu that had a very small all-hand stuff, everything from empanadas to sliders. And but what is perfect about Southwest food is so much ties into it. We can add apples into it. We can add peaches. So we basically are doing Southwest food with our own twist, with fresh fruit and vegetables from what's grown around us in Colorado. And
that's really awesome. But I do got to say, there are specials, obviously, that you guys have. And I wanted to bring in your 4th of July special because we need to talk about this thing. Look at how big that hot dog is.
So,
holy smokes.
Palisade Brewery. So we both wanted to run specials. We work a lot with Palisade Brewery here. And so they bought a 9-inch corn dog. And so I talked to our Cisco rep and I was like, look, I need something bigger, more American, and more in their face. And they were like, we got a 12-inch Nathan's dogs. And I was like, sweet, let's make it Southwest. So again, it goes back to, we took a regular item and we were like, how can we make it Southwest? So we put 2 slices of cheddar jack cheese on it. We pickled onions in our fresh apple cider vinegar that we make. And then the hot dog and pickled onions. It was unbelievable.
That looks amazing. And Joey Chestnut not around, so you didn't run out in 10 minutes. So that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, fortunately. Well, once people saw it, that was the best part about it. I would say overall, from a marketing aspect, is anyone who ordered one or ate one took a picture and posted it on social media and tagged us. So it worked out really, really well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you kind of talked about this a little bit, but did you guys want the Southwest because it's a differentiating point, because you can move it into what it pairs well with your stuff, or how do you blend that in when you're developing a food program, basically?
So I think if you're going to produce anything, uh, you need to do it well. I think in this day and age, the brewing industry is becoming more and more competitive, and unfortunately, we're seeing more breweries close, continuing to, especially in Colorado. And if you're going to be successful, in my opinion, you have to offer quality food. And so we started with how do we first represent tradition and what we do well here, and then what is a product that's going to keep people coming back, and what's a price point that makes it feasible to where we're not just tourism and we're getting locals to come out and support us as well. Because that's been another big change, at least here in Palisade, Colorado, is because we've become such a huge wine country area for Colorado. You're seeing a lot of people pricing for tourists, which makes it not feasible. A lot of the people here will have a locals discount because that's the way it's just, they're going to get their money where they can.
Yeah, absolutely. How about working with the pricing and, you're not just, for us, you get a lot of Gordon's Food Sofos, in Northwest Ohio that people are ordering their food from. This is obviously, like you said, you get to work with a lot of the fruit that you guys have on hand as well. But when it came to pricing things out and, like you said, making it affordable, I mean, is that probably a new thing that you guys hadn't thought about, since you didn't have to deal with the food side, but food costs are always a little more difficult to deal with, don't you think?
They're a lot more difficult to deal with, and they're consistently changing. Fortunately, working directly with the farmers and us being a wholesaler ourselves, we know what we're going to sell fruit for, and then we know what our grocery stores are going to sell the fruit that we sold it to them for, those margins tied in. So basically what we're doing is we're cutting out that second tier of distribution, and we're going directly to the farm. And the best part about going directly to the farm is that money's going to them, and they're making a little bit more than they would be turning around and wholesaling it. So we're actually getting a better price. I mean, the Colorado corn just came to market. I'm getting corn from Colorado for 50% less money than I was getting it from California.
Wow. Well,
so
that works right there.
and then with us being able to make apple cider vinegar and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we're pickling all of our own stuff. We're not paying to get it pickled. We are hands-on family farm, and so a lot of these tricks and trades, we already do it. We don't need to pay someone else to do it.
Right. It opened Mayish, I think you guys opened. Is that when things finally started getting going?
Yeah, about May. The whole process and just changing over our license, our county was just rough to work with, and it took us about 13 months to basically just add beer and food. And that's without ever having a tack on our license for underage serving for anything. So, I mean, it was a rigorous process, and it just has to do with updates to county codes and different things like that. Your entrances, your exits, defining your parking lot. Like where we're at, we're so far out in the countryside. Our next winery from us is anywhere from 1.5 miles to 3 miles down the road. So we don't really have anyone around us. So we're not used to, I guess, working with those types of rules, essentially.
Sure. How about when just considering it a success? Like, what do you consider a success for? What is it? Is it something that you're looking to be a revenue maker for you, or is it just like bringing more people out, increasing the dwell times, helping sell cider or other, whatever you're selling now because you have the opportunity? Like, what are the metrics you're looking at to be like, yeah, this is going the right way that we wanted it to?
So initially, Joe, my brother, he runs marketing and sales, or really he runs more distribution and sales, and I do more of the marketing and product development. He and I sat down and we said, if we can hit that 14%, but we can get people to stay and just have another drink, then for us, it's worthwhile. We want to use it as a consumer education platform, what we have found since we made that plan is that we have broken it, and it's now making 32% of our overall revenue for the tap room. So, and that's just us in our first couple months. So we've actually had to sit back and rethink, because we're really busy into our tourism season right now, on what is that metric going to look like? What is our goal? And at this point, I think we're moving to more, if we can run a 40% food here on premise and we can have a margin that's over 30 to 40% on it, we're happy. That's as good as it gets. That's gravy. And on average, everyone that orders something to eat orders 1 to 2 more drinks.
That's awesome. Well, when it comes to just having the wider selection, do you see that as a hindrance, a bonus? Like, what, when you become more of an all-encompassing bar restaurant model, do you see yourself bringing in different people? Are I bet you there's people walking in saying, hey, we didn't know that you guys were here. You get, no matter how long you're around, you end up still finding those people that they discovered you because you switched things up a little bit.
Yeah, I would say we've increased our overall people that are going to come to the tap room and just offering food, because there's no one, where we're located in Palisade, there's no one on East Orchard Mesa that offers food until you get 6 miles down the road, and it's a pie shop. So there's not really a restaurant. You have to go into town. And so it's really increased. And I'd say all the other wineries suggest us now as a food place, because that's what we have. What's been nice is the people that typically came in and they'd sit down and be like, oh, all you have is cider. Oh, all you have is wine. And we couldn't direct them to try some of our ciders that are made more for beer drinkers. They would just leave. Now, everything we do is Colorado beers. We work with the brewers. Everything that we're trying to do is, initially, we just have Colorado beer on draft. Our overall goal is to only have collaborations on tap. So our collaboration, the Palisade Peach Wheat with Breckenridge Brewery, with Palisade Brewery, we do a hazy peach IPA that we'll be putting on. But the ultimate goal is to move to fruit-focused beers and just continue to push that farm education side and just make it different. Same with the distilling. We're working with Peachtree Distillery and Breckenridge Distillery, and they're batching up our cocktails for our menu that is using Colorado fruit to just continue to build that consumer education.
That's pretty cool. And it makes you kind of rethink yourself in a business model as well. I mean, is this what a modern cider tap room can be going forward? I think, I know on the beer side, we talk about this so much, and I think the cideries are starting to see that as well, is like, you put food in front of people, you will have a longer stay.
Yeah. And one of our fears was if we had beers and stuff, it would cannibalize the sales of hard cider, and it truly hasn't. Even with our large concerts and stuff that we do here, cider is still predominantly the most consumed thing here by, almost 70% hard cider over anything else. Beer is about 28%, wine about 2%.
That's awesome. So yeah, you're still cider first, even though it's, you're adding a hospitality aspect. And was that, like you said, something that you don't want to see yourself get away from what you guys have been for the whole time that since you started?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we can continue to help support the region and get, we're going to continue to stay on our promise to only use Colorado beers and different things like that, because it just helps grow our region. The way that we viewed it is that we're focusing more on selling a farm experience than we are just selling a products.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of those products was Pocket Shandy, and you're drinking it right there. There it is. So it, obviously a great summer idea, summer seasonal. Tell me a little bit about how it came to life, and what did you see it as being a part of the Talbott's lineup in the cider category? This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.
So it actually started as an accident. We had a fermentation that it was an Alpine Star fermentation, which is our flagship base cider here. And at the beginning of the fermentation, the sugar level was a little low, but I still figured we were going to hit where we needed to be. And the fermentation cut out and it only consumed about 80% of the sugars. And so it left us with like a 4% alcohol cider that had lemon characteristics. And it just really good citric acid kind of flavors. And so there's no way we were going to turn it into Alpine Start. So we're like, let's test this. Sent it in. There was no crazy fermentations or anything happening. It died out. So we cold crashed it and got a bunch of different juices from the grocery store. We're like, let's see if we can do something cool with this. So we added about 5% lemon juice to it, and it turned into like this. It's quickly becoming one of our number one brands. But it just took off like a firestorm. And at first, we just put it into kegs, and within 6 weeks, we were putting it into package, and it's just flying off the shelves. We have a winery right down the street from here, Restoration Vineyards. They carry 4 to 5 of our products, depending, and they usually go through about 2 to 3 cases a week of each. This one, as soon as they put it on, it's 5 cases a week, and it didn't take away from the others.
Wow. So increasing sales there. That's really cool. Is it, when it comes to, I guess the aspect when you think about it, beer drinkers always think, it's going to have that beer taste to it. Does this still have the cider taste to it, or does it taste more like the lemon aspect of it? Like what, and was that something that you had to mess with even at the beginning?
We had to play with the amount of lemon juice that we were adding because it did become really lemony very quickly. But the nice thing about how this cider played out is we did a polish filter instead of a sterile filtration on it. So it actually has a lot of mouthfeel, which I think it's something we're working on right now, is how do we move further and further away from sterile filtration, just because you get so much more mouthfeel and body. So this to me it tastes like a lemon cider, but it tastes like a cider. It does not taste like a seltzer or anything like that. It's just good.
Nice. And when it comes to like, how is it for shelf stability and stuff? Like, is there anything that you had to adjust on that aspect, because it is just maybe something a little different than you guys are used to?
So we use Velcro. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's I'm sure you have. It's a lot of wineries in California use it, and we use it for fresh apple juice, and it gives us a lot more confidence. When we switched from epoxy line cans to BPA and I cans originally, we were having a lot of stability issues, and we're starting to break down liners. And so in that process of moving towards a liner that was a little better for our product, we started looking at other stabilizers for it, and that's when we stumbled across Velcro, which is giving us a lot more confidence and stability.
Nice. And it just seems, the more I talk to people, I mean, obviously there's always the traditionalists. This is a wine product. This is to be handled in a certain way. But at the same time, you have to adapt to your consumer base. You have to adapt to creating a new consumer base. How does the future of cider lie in hybrid offerings like this, whether it's flavored blends or shandies, fruited seasonals? I mean, we see it a lot more now than we even did 5-10 years ago. And there's always room for more, I believe. But like, do you see kind of that trend just because of the way consumers consume the product?
I think what we are seeing is consumers are moving, at least in the hard cider realm, they're moving either to lower alcohol ciders or they're moving to higher alcohol ciders. But the space in the middle where everyone's operated for so long is kind of starting to fade away. But with that, our Imperial ciders, we're going to be releasing an Imperial pack this next year. And it's because our Imperials, we sell the heck out of them here on premise. But it's really interesting to see there's some people that just want higher alcohol, some people that want lower alcohol, and that 5% to 6% category to me seems like it's starting to, it's just stabilized. It's not growing for us. It's not shrinking for us. It's just staying still.
And how have you guys adjusted to that? Because like you said, you're doing more Imperial stuff. Is there, the NA options, being able to add THC to things, or there's so many revenue or avenues to find revenue. Is the board open for you guys? How do you approach innovation?
For us, everything we do, we test in the tap room, and then we have a couple accounts throughout the state of Colorado that if it flows in those accounts, it means it's probably going to be good. That's been kind of our metric of measuring. we watch other companies and what they're doing, and we consume their products to see, just to be aware. And as we progress, we watch what seems to be becoming popular, and we're not necessarily trend chasers, I would say, but we look at the things that are growing and find something similar that we could produce that's not the same, but it's, if right now what I'm seeing is that like anything citrus is growing, which is weird. Mango, orange, lemon, these different flavors seem to be really, really popular right now, at least in hard cider.
Well, that's awesome. And like you said, I mean, it's a fast grower for you guys. And I mean, you're only looking at it. I mean, when did the Shandy launch? But then to see, you don't even have a lot of data to work off of yet to see how much this can go.
Probably, I think we launched it in I want to say it was like April, May. And so, yeah, we haven't even made it through a full year with it yet. And we are going to start working with, we just got approved in Kansas and Missouri, and we're going to sit down with Hy-Vee this fall, which is one of our large fruit customers. And this is one of the first products that we're going to try to push with them to see if we can get some traction there.
And there's innovation in that little segment right there as well. I mean, Shandies can do a lot right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what you're doing right now when it comes to product development and so on and so forth is, what is your business? What do you want to see your business be like? And if you want to, like you were saying earlier, you want to be more of a traditionalist and you want to do more boutique stuff. If you look at Haken Cider in Colorado, they're one of the most awarded cider companies in the state, and everything he does is 25 plus a bottle, sold in 100% 750s, and he's focused 100% on quality. So it's kind of like the Casey Brewing and blending model. You got to decide where you want to be. Are you going to go into distribution and try to build on distribution? I think right now, unless you were in the market 5 years ago, building distribution is a lot more difficult than it used to be. I think people still are, COVID still, unfortunately, I feel like has an effect, especially with a lot of on-premise. We don't move nearly as much kegs as we used to, and it just has to do with corporate businesses purchasing out independent accounts and stuff. But our brand before COVID, we were 60, 70% draft. Now we're 10.
Wow.
So it's, what do you want to be and what do you want to do? For us, until Hy-Vee approached us about expanding outside the state, our goal was just to be a highly successful cidery in Colorado. We weren't planning on growing outside of that, but if there's opportunity, we're going to take the opportunity where it's at.
Very awesome. Well, kind of circling it back, and obviously people that are watching this might be cidery owners, managers, people that are in the industry. We already kind of touched on some of this, but should we be adding food? Should we be launching something like a Shandy? I mean, what would you really say? I mean, has it been worth the effort over this last 6 months or so since you guys have launched these two different kind of revenue makers for you guys?
Yeah, I would say if you want to launch a restaurant, beware of what it takes to run a restaurant. That would be my biggest advice, because I am the head cider maker, winemaker here, on top of the kitchen chef. And it's taken me a couple months to start to prepare prep chefs and different people like that to be prepared to do that. With that said, companies like Cisco and Shamrock and different places like that have made the barriers of entry of not being a great cook allow you to get into it with, kind of like we were talking about on email, kind of pub ferrets and different things like that. You really can get into running a restaurant that can increase your revenue for not a ton of money. And the things you make, if you keep a limited menu, if you just have something to offer, I don't even think you have to have a lot. If you just have something, people are going to stay longer. So, but I do think, do it fits your identity. What is your brand? And if your brand is, it looks like it can grow with food, then I would say entertain it, start slow, and build from there.
Awesome.
So like I said, we're running out of a food truck. We didn't even build a big kitchen or anything like that. We have a Pit Boss smoker that has an app so that we can track meat, and a griddle and a warmer. That's it. And we run, last night, for Taco Tuesday, we did 80 We did 40 orders of tacos, and then another 20 orders on top of that of other stuff. So I mean, it makes a big difference. It took what was, probably a $400 Friday or $400 Tuesday to a $1,600 Tuesday.
Wow.
So and I increased staff by me and one other person. So nothing crazy.
Absolutely. And like you said, it does matter. It shows in the bottom line right there. So
when it pairs well with your food, depending on the type of food you do, you can build it around the brands that you currently have. Some of the stuff that we have, like the green chili cider, peach habanero, those types of things pair really well with the type of food that we're doing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that information. And I wanted to dive into, I told you I'd give you a couple goofy curveballs at the end just for some fun. So you ready to dive into a couple one?
Yep.
All right. What's your go-to fast food order?
Chick-fil-A. And it's just a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A.
And it's there in 30 seconds. And
yeah. We have very few Chick-fil-A's here. So our Chick-fil-A has 2 loops around the building of cars you got to sit in. But still, I'd say 10 minutes to get through. I mean, it's not bad. They're quick.
They are quick. If you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what kind of strange career would you want to be doing instead?
I would probably be in Mexico running a beach bar.
So not too far away from what
not too far. I love the alcohol industry. I'm big with people. And I think the alcohol industry connects people. It's one of those berries that doesn't matter where you go in the world. You don't have to speak Spanish and go to Mexico and immediately have a connection with someone because you guys are consuming the same beer. Same with Europe, same with anywhere else. It's that it breaks that barrier and brings people together. So
awesome. And then we'll wrap it up with this one. If you could have a fictional character from any TV show, movie, cartoon, whatever you want to do, and to be your new assistant on the production floor, who would you want to be?
Iron Man. Automate it. Let's go.
It'd be done quickly. He'd be able to pay for everything. He could work for free.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to worry much. Tony Stark would just, he'd probably take over though. That's the only thing.
He probably would, but he did well. So
awesome. Well, now he's Dr. Doom, so we'll have to see what he's up to here. They haven't come.
Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about that. I'm still having mixed emotions about recasting characters, but I don't know.
In the same franchise, it's kind of weird.
My fear is when these characters kind of die out with what happens with AI. My fear is that we just have AI making our movies, and there's no longer real people in them. They're just AI people.
You're giving people way too many ideas right now. I'm scared.
It's terrifying to think about.
Exactly. Well, Charles, I appreciate the time, and best of luck to the new ventures that you guys got going. Seems things are going good for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, man. We really appreciate it.
This Brewer Mag podcast is sponsored by Keg Logistics. Now's the perfect time to review your keg management strategy. Whether you're seeking a truly flexible keg rental program or intrigued by the seamless distribution freedom of paper fill, Keg Logistics is ready to craft a personalized solution for you, ensuring you receive the kegs you need precisely when you need them. For details, visit keglogistics.com/brewermag. Keg Logistics, modern solutions for keg efficiency.